Hello, how are you?
Hello, Luca, how are you?
Fine, thanks. You?
Fine, tutto bene.
Good, tutto bene, very good. Enough in Italian. So, you have any guest? What are you going to talk us about today?
A very, very interesting case study.
Good.
It's about a remediation project with our NGMS circle. Of course, It's a use case from our floatingpoint.com.
Okay.
And we have two guests. One is Matteo Gorghetto from NGMS. He's the advisor of NGMS, and Matias Seco from Full AM. He's the circle leader.
Hello, Matteo. Hello, Matias.
Hello there. Very glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Matteo, for taking some time for us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump in. So, it was a project for one of the biggest 4 accounting firms in all the world, one of the 4 giants. We're talking about billions revenue per year. And Sorint was managing the infrastructure, or wanted to manage the infrastructure. First question I want to know from Matteo, why did we pass it to Full AM if it was just managing the infrastructure?
Yeah, because this is a kind of service which is about full application maintenance, the whole stack, so we are talking about infrastructure and then the application running on top. Full AM, it is a circle within NGMS organization, which is, let's say, responsible to maintain applications under the bug fixing viewpoint or small application functionality development and so forth. So they take care of the complete stack. And I would say that this is, I guess, a clear example showing that NGMS is no more a service desk. It is more than that. We are just, this is the clear example of shifting left, going to customer proximity and such. So let's say that we take the application maintenance at the operation daily level, so that's it. But we discovered some issues during our job and
it was managing the infrastructure. We knew there was bugs, we knew there was issues, but when the project joined Sorint, it was a low season for the client, and he told us there are bugs are gonna emerge in the high season, which was between November and December. Am I right?
Exactly.
So you knew there was bugs going to emerge at some point, so you rather kept the project with Full AM. So when the bugs appear, we are ready to penetrate these bugs and make the flow work. Let's go to Matthias, the circle who handled the project from A to Z. So the project went good all year long in the low season, and then in the high season, the bugs started to appear. Matthias.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Maybe I can also share some slides that I have prepared. And here you can see that the trailer was already giving a suspicious situation. And during the high season, we have this delicate application which manages hundreds of thousands of mails per month. So we could experience these issues of and the application crashing.
Sorry. To understand the scope first. So it was an application. It was a solution that has several applications that manages a mail exchange between the client and his clients.
Yes, that's right. It's a digital service which exchange legal documents between these big firm and their customers, and so it's mail based, and it actually started back in 2017, but we took charge of it last year. So we had some evolution of it that we had to take care of.
Okay, and you said hundreds. You mentioned in the article 100,000 email in the high season. Managing money, managing money, very sensitive.
Yes, they were related to legal invoices, so it was pretty delicate topic, and here you could see all kinds of problems arising. So it was kind of an interesting experience.
Okay,
Like I
let's
say,
see the code.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Just to give you, Moab, also the context here that is very, let me say, it's something very we used to see in the market is that our customer, they have some, we are here in presence of custom application. So it's something that they need to build their own because it's very specific for the business. The custom application, it's the 10% of the real, the application in the real world. So it's a niche, let me say, but it's very close to the core, the core business of the customer.
The core business of the client.
So that's why we have this custom application, very specific for the customer business. They are very, well, let me say, custom developed by the customer, and also they are very close to the core business. They are very important. That's why we saw many other, well, the big one. So, like example, Google, they started to use the word site reliability engineer because they need some engineer focused on maintain up and running the application. So let me say, I try to say to Moab, Matias, that we are trying to implement a sort of site reliability engineer plus the full maintenance of the application. So it's more than the site reliability engineer. We added the bug fixing. That is not really the site reliability engineer, but it's very focused on the maintaining up and running these applications.
And it was mentioned in the client's brief or the requirements that there are bugs. The clients knew that there is bugs, Matthias, right? Yes, but the bugs that emerged are not in the same scale you expected.
That's right. They were more. They were much more than that. And here I can give you a glimpse of how the architecture of this application is. You can see it's pretty complex. There are many flows, many steps, and this was one of the main challenge points.
Sure. You mentioned in the article that there was no documentation.
We could
documentation.
There were some references. For example, this diagram was not existent when we took up the project, and the thing is that there were some just general reference points. They were not going down in detail. So to be able to go to the point and get all the details, we had to use some techniques. And one of the main ones we like in NGMS is recreating locally the same application dynamics. So we can find out how it works. We can simulate all different situations and guess better what it's doing.
So you simulate the whole environment on your local environment, and you start triggering what happens for the errors to appear.
Yes, and that's the only way to recreate it without impacting production.
The production environment.
This
is the technology stack. So it was SQL Server, a Spring Boot, I think the front end part, and all running on Windows servers.
Yes, so the application was Java based with the Spring Boot framework, and from there we were able to look into the log4j configurations and the JVM configurations, and try to fix every part that was impacting the application. Here you can see the solutions we brought up. In particular,
can I stop here? Sorry, Matthias. Can I stop here on the specific exception handling?
Yep.
So there wasn't any exception handling in the code? Try and catch errors, or to know specifically where the error is emerging? There wasn't?
So actually, the application had a generic catch for the execution exceptions, but in this case, we separated some specific cases, like, for example, big mails or other cases that were crashing the application. And so we could create an alternative flow that could fix the situation in a specific way.
Okay, so you made that you break down how we handled the errors in order to understand later where the errors are emerging from and give feedback on where exactly in the flow the error emerged.
Yeah, that's right. And we also applied, by doing that, we created this trace of each thread, so we could find out how each part of the logs were correlated, because as you saw before, it's a pretty complex flow. And this way we could troubleshoot nowadays much better. We improved the troubleshooting operativity also.
The diagram you showed us up where the flow is in the environment, Sorint Sorint architected it during the analysis phase of the bugs.
Yes, and this is a special mention that I want to say, because this opened up the opportunity not only to optimize this legacy application, but also to open an opportunity with the customer to design a new one that can be more in line with the modern solutions.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about everything. It's very difficult in the short time we have. I will leave it for our viewers to check it on Floating Point. But I want to go to Matteo for the part of the documentation. If the client gave us the project from the beginning, documented very precisely, I think Matteo handling those errors or the crashing of the application would have been so much easier, right?
Yeah, well, I believe that if they had written the documentation, very likely we were not going to face problems because they knew what was going on actually, you know?
Yeah, but you would have to solve it.
Exactly. Let's say that this happens very often among the services we deliver. So, you know, when the customer or the vendor for the customer implement solutions, they, you know, Agile is very useful to develop new applications, but usually people, you know, tend to think that documentation can come afterwards, but afterwards the documentation never comes. And so we have to reverse engineer what they did and try to understand what the problems are about. So,
sorry, Matteo, to interrupt you, but also because the customer is following an idea, they are trying to catch the right time to develop a new solution for this customer, and then it grows and
exactly.
Always
lazy, but it's something that happened.
Yeah, and I want to. This is a nice thing of NGMS. It's like being Indiana Jones, because you always have to like explore and find out what's going on. So that's a very interesting experience.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. Thank you, Matthias. And thank you, Matteo. Really, please, for our viewers, read more on this case study on floatingpoint.com, because it's very hard to cover all the technical aspects, but I hope we gave you a full picture or an outline of what was the project or what was the case study. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matteo. Thank you, Moab.
Thank you,
See you on the next Tech Talk.